Hi everyone, my name is as always Marcin and welcome on my channel where you can practice your Photoshop skills, Photoshop manipulation skills, when you can find a lot of tips and different kind of techniques. And today I'm going to show you how to do mature person Photoshop retouch. As you can see, I'm going to work on this image. I opened this at first to show you on which image I'm going to work. So let's start our work from the beginning. And the first thing we have to do, we have to analyze our image, what we're going to do on this image. So let's zoom this a little bit, and as you can see, we have to fix our face a little bit. We have a lot of areas on the skin. We have this not really good looking colors on the skin. For sure we have to fix this, but after we fix this, we don't want to make this face look really fakey. So the things we're going to do, we're going to fix the skin texture a little bit, the skin colors, but at the same point we want to make this image dynamic and full of character. So we're going to increase contrast in few areas of the image. As well, we're going to brighten eyes a little bit and some other parts, and we end up with good color correction. So let's start from the beginning. I'm going to close this picture, and the first step is editing in camera. I'm going to work with this picture a bit in camera. So file, browse in bridge. I have to find my picture, it's here. As you can see on the right side, we have all details about the picture. I'm going to click right and then choose open in camera. Don't worry, for sure if you're using Photoshop you have camera. So I'm not a huge fan of a lot of editing in camera, but it's really good to add some small changes into the picture. As you can see, we can change temperature at first, and it's our choice if we're going to make it a bit warmer or actually we're going to pull it down to make this picture colder. I'm not doing this really often, but in this case I'm going to bring up some warmth on the picture, as well as I'm going to add some magenta to make this warm color looks a bit more natural. Usually I skip the next part, however we can add some contrast on the picture. We can add some shadows or brighten up some shadows. I'm going to pull it down a little bit, and at the end in this section I'm going to add some clarity. Be careful to not add too much, because if we add too much of clarity, as you can see, this picture won't look really natural. So I think maybe something between 20 and 30. And after this, if you think your image is too saturated, you can take down some vibrance. In this case, I'm going to take down just a little bit and bring up saturation to 3 points. And that would be all. Of course, you can work with lights a little bit, you can work with sharpening, but I'm going to do all of this later in Photoshop. So as we are ready, we can open image. So this picture automatically will be imported to our Photoshop. It looks a bit different, I cannot show you right now, but trust me, this picture looks a bit different. We add some clarity, we work with some colors on the picture. So the first thing we have to do, we have to remove all of the ugly colors from the face. We have to retouch some skin, we have to work with colors. So the thing I'm going to do, I'm going to duplicate this layer twice, and I'm going to do frequency separation retouch. At first I will start with color layer. We have to make it a little bit blurry. So go to filter, blur, and choose Gaussian blur. I already set radius up around 9.4. The thing is, we have to find a place where we started losing details from the picture, but we still keep the main areas like eyes, like nose. We still have to keep the big details from the image, but we have to make the rest of the ugly colors a little bit blurry. I think around 10 pixels is actually okay. It's quite big picture, so I can add a little bit more. It depends on which size our picture is. And then I'm going into my texture, go to image, apply image, and as a layer I'm going to choose color, because I want all the colors be applied from the color layer. And I'm going to change blending into subtract, because it was 8-bit picture, so the scale and offset is at 2 and 128. If it would be 16-bit picture, in blending we change into add, not subtract, and the scale is 2 and offset 0, and then we have to select invert. So right now it's okay. We have to change blending mode into linear light. And now these two layers I'm going to put into the group. So Ctrl G, and it's in the group. I'm going to call this frequency. So go into your color layer, and that's the funny part right now. Let's zoom this picture a little bit. Choose selection tool. I'm going to choose lasso tool. It's fantastic method really. And just select some part of your face. Press Q. As you can see, it's our feather is too small. We have to bring up some feather to make our edges really smooth. This is big picture, so I pull this up into more than 50 pixels. But I have to select, of course, this section, to selection, and now it looks quite smooth, quite alright, maybe just a little bit more. So okay, select quite big areas on your picture, then go to filter, blur, and choose Gaussian blur. The things we have to do here, have to bring up some pixels on the picture, not too much, because we have to remember that's an old man, that's a mature skin, so we don't want to make the skin looks fakey, so we won't add so many pixels as we would add into young skin. So I think 22 pixels maybe is alright. Sometimes it might be even less. We want to keep this natural. And exactly the same do on the rest of the face. If you want to repeat this, just Ctrl or Command F, and as you can see, very soft retouch, not too strong, so everything looks really natural. And I'm going to do the same on the rest of the face. just a little bit more here. Of course, we don't want to make our hair smooth. And the last part is neck, but we have to be really careful to not make this neck look fake once again. So I'm going to go to blur once again, and I'm going to add a bit less pixels, maybe around 17, to make this not so smooth as the rest of the face. And now we can have a look. As you can see, we remove all of the ugly colors from the face, but at the same point we keep the natural texture, and it's not that strong, so it doesn't look so fake. However, if for you it's too strong, you can always change opacity on this layer. I'm going to pull it down to 90%, for example, so we still keep some of the colors from the image, so it looks a bit more natural. If you don't like too strong retouch, you can keep some of the previous colors. So right now there is no sense to remove the wrinkles, because if we remove the wrinkles, our model, our person won't look natural. We don't want to make our old person 20 years old. So okay, I can close this group, and the next part is I want to sharpen some part of the image. I need to sharpen some of the part of the image. So I'm going to create a stamp, Alt, Control, Shift and E, or Alt, Command, Shift and E if you're working on Mac. I'm going to call this blur. I'm going to duplicate this once again, and this layer I'm going to call High Pass. So on this blur layer I'm going to add blur once again. Totally too strong, maybe around 9.6, around 10 is okay. And then on the high pass layer we have to add, of course, filter high pass. Have to add the same amount or similar amount as on our blur layer, so in this case it would be 9.6, and then change blending mode into hard light. Take a look. As you can see, I will put this to the group, Control or Command G to show you the difference. As you can see, our image, especially our hair, are a bit more sharpened. We have better details right now. I'm going to call this layer sharpen, this group, I'm sorry. But I don't want to sharpen all of the face, so because I was pretty much happy about my result, and as you see, when we sharpen face we got some of this not really nice texture on here. So I'm going to add layer mask, and I'm going to invert this layer, Control or Command I, and now I inverted colors. So I'm going to paint via white brush on the areas I want to bring up the details, and on the rest part I will keep the texture as it is right now. So choose a brush. You don't have to use mouse all the time, of course. You can just press B on your keyboard and that will be alright. The same, choose the type of the brush, keep it a bit bigger right now, and via white color of the brush just paint this image, of course opacity 100, flow 100, and paint this picture around to bring out the details. Take a look what's happening right now. As you can see, I'm bringing up some details on the picture right now. I want to bring up especially the details on the beard, on his hair, to add some character on the picture. Of course, every old man has some character. So we add pretty much natural sharpening right now, and it's quite non-destructive. It's very similar to frequency separation. Take a look. As you can see, our beard looks much more impressive right now. Maybe a little bit here on the eyebrows, and I will sharpen his eyes a little bit, because of course nothing is more important than eyes of the old person. So as we're talking about eyes, now it's the time to retouch his eyes a little bit. So take a look. The thing I have to do, I want to keep the natural color because there's no sense to change the color, so we're just going to brighten up a little bit of these eyes. So just create new layer, and I'm going to call this layer Retouch and Burn Tool Eyes, because that's probably the easiest way to improve the way our eyes looks like. Of course, I'm going to choose white brush. Mode is normal, but in this case I change opacity from 100% only to 5%. And now just paint inside the eyes. As you can see, it's not really big difference. That's the point. We have to keep the eyes natural and change blend mode from normal to overlay. By this we can add some really nice shiny color to our eyes. Take a look. And at the moment it looks really good, I would say. If you want to change some color, of course you can add some color. You can use simple brush, or as well you can use curves to do this. Anything will be good. I'm going to show you how to do this by curves. You can, for example, just open curves and look at the eyes. Don't look at the rest of the face, it's not important, and just manipulate by this to the way you want your eyes looks like. You can add some blue color, just a little bit, to keep this still looking natural. Then okay, and as you can see, we change the color of whole image, so we just have to invert the curve layer, Control I or Command I, and then using white brush just paint on this layer. And as you can see, our eyes are changing colors into this blue one. So I'm going to put this into the group, these two layers now. Control G, and I'm going to call this group eyes. So we are nearly done. This is very basic, simple retouch. As you can see, we really did a lot already. Take a look. That's the picture from the beginning and how it changed right now. And at the end, because we are nearly done, it's good to change some colors from the image. It would be good to add some color which is actually suitable for older person, some warm colors. So I'm going to use just gradient map. I'm going to change blending mode into color and add only, let's say, 10%. And in Photoshop CS6 Plus, we have this beautiful photographic tuning gradient, and you can choose one of these or even create your own over here and manipulate by colors. I'm really happy with this result, so I'm going to keep this. Okay, and now I'm just going to duplicate my background layer to show you how our picture looked before and how it looks now. As you can see, it was very simple retouch, but we turn pretty much average image into really good, retouched already, good looking, dynamic image. So thank you for watching. If you like this tutorial, don't forget to thumb up. Don't forget to check my Facebook page when I'm still connected to you all the time. And see you soon in the next Photoshop tutorial. Thank you.